Did you have any issues now in hindsight over some of the things that Charlie Kirk said and some of the rhetoric he used during his life?
I didn't agree with much of it. I didn't closely follow his specific kinds of views, but I did.
I'm sure you learned about them after his death, though.
No, I haven't done a deep dive on it. We've all seen that terrible video. Perhaps if you've seen the actual video, I have. And it's like appalling. And that's part of the political violence. And from what I'm saying, it's like that's unacceptable. And engaging in a debate and views I strongly disagree on, that's part of the American democracy. And for me, it's that would never justify what's happened, and I just chose not to take the opportunity to argue his views after children lost his father in the most violent public way.
I want to get your thoughts on the leftist media describing these violent protests as mostly peaceful. I mean, we've heard that before.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We've heard this before. They don't even have any new lines to come up with to describe, Antifa trying to intimidate people from engaging in the free expression of their political beliefs and ideals. And this is truly unfortunate when you look at the history of UC Berkeley, which used to be a bastion of free speech. Of course, it is no longer that. We saw that last night. We saw rampant violence, them setting things on fire, all because they were upset that they might be exposed to speech that they disagreed with, or that may have hurt their feelings. It's completely insane, but it goes to show this is what's happening in our college campuses here in America, and we need to get serious about ensuring that we got to root out this indoctrination. These campuses used to be about education, no longer the case, it seems.
Yeah, and looking at the protests, I mean, they were so violent. A video has gone viral that captured a man beating up a Turning Point USA supporter near UC Berkeley. That man has been arrested and charged. And, these Antifa-like thugs were causing so much chaos, as they always do. There were people mocking Charlie Kirk's death. Let's just take a look at another video.
Last hour, we've highlighted for you as some fights broke out in this crowd. Again, we know 2 people have been detained as emotions are high and tensions are high, as we saw some of those protesters clashing with people waiting in line to get inside. We know the university has added enhanced security measures. They've called in a lot of police from Berkeley as well as UC Berkeley, and Turning Point USA has also hired some of their own independent security to be on campus. There are strict policies to actually get inside of Zeller-Bach Hall, but we know certainly tensions are high outside of Zeller-Bach Hall right now. We want to show you some more video here of some of that law enforcement presence as they took at least one.
Yeah, a little bit more detail on Fox News compared to that CBS report, but it's just so horrifying to see some of the violence. I mean, and Charlie Kirk was assassinated just 2 months ago for speaking the truth. We heard an ABC reporter kind of romanticize the alleged assassin in a bizarre news report as more details were coming out about the assassin. Now, despite all of this, despite all these woke lefties who still describe Charlie Kirk as vile, there was a packed house at UC Berkeley for the TPA USA event. Let's take a look. Yeah, we love to see it. Still so much love for Charlie Kirk.
No, you're exactly right. And it goes to show that regardless of how, often these people try to censor free speech, I think people are obsessed with the idea of actually being passionate and going out and fighting for what they believe in now, especially in the wake of Charlie's death. I think we've talked about this often on your program, is that his passing created 1,000 Charlie Kirks, millions actually, right, across the world, who are ready to, pick up the mic and fight for what he did. But what I find interesting about that previous clip more so is the amount of security that Turning Point had to bring on campus, the amount of police officers that had to be present at that event. I've never heard of a liberal campus event having to have that much security or that many, police officers present for them to be able to, vocalize whatever they believe in. Why is it only conservative events that have to make the investments in security that we're seeing at this event? It goes to show, they have never been the party of tolerance, and they certainly aren't here today.